Hello, and welcome to this webinar on interoception awareness and sights and sounds. I'm Sue Eltringham, and both Sandra and I are occupational therapists. We received training on interoception from Kelly Mahler, and the links to her work, resources, and further reading are referenced at the end of this webinar. Within the Autism Team at Kent County Council, we have predominantly worked with autistic adults without a learning disability, and we've based this webinar generally on supporting this client group. So it may not be suitable for everybody. However, the strategies can be adapted for anyone who's struggling to interpret their body sensations and emotions. So now that I've introduced myself and you've put a face to a name, I'm going to turn off the camera whilst presenting this webinar. I'm just going to bring up the slides now. Okay, and there are our contact details on this slide as well. So can you just note that with reference to this particular webinar, we would be recommending that you visit your GP first if you have any concerns around your sight or hearing, for example, loss of hearing, ringing in your ears, painful ears, or in relation to your eyes, any irritation, red eyes, weeping eyes, or any condition that you may be concerned about, so that your doctor is aware and where you can receive medical advice if needed. So it's important that you have a basic understanding of interoception and what this means. This webinar needs to be watched after you've watched the Introduction to Interoception webinar. So if you've not seen this yet, please click on the link above, or if not, just search in YouTube for the title, and then watch the introduction webinar first, and then come back to this one. When you come back, it might be worth having a pen and notebook with you, as there's a short activity during this webinar. You might also like to perhaps write some notes or write down any queries that the webinar brings up for you, and you may want to research these afterwards. So hoping by now you've watched the introduction to interoception, and you will have learned that interoception helps us manage the way we feel by promoting us to take action based on the body sensations we notice. The majority of us recognize these sensations and have good interoception awareness. The purpose of this webinar is to focus on two areas of the body, the eyes and the ears, and linking these to sight and sound. And to help you notice this area of your body and the senses that are linked to, and to encourage you to practice to think about how your eyes and ears can feel and how you can be able to describe this sensation. So I'm just going to talk about the eyes only here and just give you an example of how they can feel. So if you have good interoception awareness, you will not have any problems with recognizing if your eyes are watering and if you need to take the appropriate action. Good interoception awareness is vital for noticing how your body feels and linking the sensation to the emotion. You need to be able to notice and connect the body sensations involving the need to take action. However, if you've got poor interoception, then this can lead to difficulties. So, for example, if you do not notice the sensation that your eyes are watering, your brain will not receive the signal to tell you that you need to go and perhaps fetch a tissue to wipe away the tears. Or perhaps you might have something stuck in your eye, or have something in your eye that has irritated it. Or it might maybe be that you're allergic to something. But interoception awareness helps you to manage the way you feel by prompting you to take action based on the body signals that you notice. So step 1 is to notice how your body feels. And so in this case, talking about the eyes, it's recognizing the sensation around the eyes and where they are on your body. And in this particular situation, your eyes might be blurry, they might be watering. Step 2 is to connect what this sensation means. Noticing when your eyes are watering and recognizing this sensation. Kelly Mahler refers to this step as the emotion, but we feel the word sensation fits better for the people we work with. And the third step is to take action. So in this case, when your eyes are watering, by going to fetch a tissue or look in the mirror, or think about which emotion it could be linked to watering eyes. Now, I'm going to give you an example here of a young autistic man I worked with who had very, very poor interoception awareness. And it's a bit of a sad story because his family had to make the decision to take the family cats to be rehomed. Now, the mum had reported that her son had never been involved with the cats or shown them any affection, even though they'd had the cats for several years. But after a week or so, after the cats had gone, her son did ask where the cats were, and his mum explained what had happened. Now, when this young man was explaining this story to me, great big tears ran down his face. But he did not notice or could not explain what the tears meant or why it was happening. He was not aware of the need to get a tissue or to wipe away the tears. So this young man did not notice the body sensation. He did not notice the welling up of his eyes and the tears forming. And nor was he able to connect to the emotion that was happening to him. So feeling sad, and nor was there any awareness to take action, to fetch a tissue or to wipe away his tears. So if we are working with people on this, we need to help people to notice the body sensations, but then also to connect the body sensation to the action and form a response. So this webinar is focusing primarily on the body sensations coming from the eyes and the ears and noticing the signals of when you need to take action. So step 1, it's important to be aware of where your eyes are on your body. Body parts like the eyes and the ears are much easier for people to be able to understand as they are external and can be seen more easily. They can be seen more easily and related to than internal body parts. So if you're supporting someone and it's appropriate, ask them to show you where on their body their eyes are. Can you or the person you're supporting describe sensations around their eyes? How do they feel? So step 2, recognizing the sensation. So you might like to have your pen and paper here. Try writing down words you use to describe how your eyes can feel. Now, anything is okay, as this is personal to each individual. So even if this is an unusual word for you, if you're supporting someone, then that's okay, as long as it's meaningful to that person, whatever word they choose to describe their eyes, that is okay. Now, if you have your pen and paper, try writing some words down. How can your eyes feel? For example, how do your eyes feel when they're very tired? Do they feel dry? Could you use that word to describe it? pause the webinar for a moment and see if you can think of some more words. Did you come up with any of these words? So my eyes can feel focused, distracted, blurry. My eyes can feel wet or itchy. My eyes can feel stinging. My eyes can feel heavy. My eyes can feel too much. Or my eyes can feel tight or wide or sore. The word too much can be used here as a describing word for the eyes. This describes the feeling many autistic people report when they are experiencing sensory overload. So experiencing sensory overload within a particular body part, for example, too much light or too much sensory input, for example, flashing lights. So too much or similar words or phrases are helpful to include when trying to build the person's ability to regulate sensory needs and maximize sensory comfort independently. Interoception plays a role in helping the person feel or notice the discomfort, which then is the cue for the person to take action. It's a crucial part of learning to have good interoception awareness, to be able to have words that you are comfortable to use that describes how these body parts can feel to you. So if you are struggling to think of any words to describe how your eyes can feel, you could try some practical things or experiments that might help you. So for your eyes, you could try asking someone to help you with this one. So follow their finger with just your eyes. Ask them to move their finger in front of your face slowly from left to right several times. Keep your head still and just follow their finger with your eyes. Now, how did that feel? You might think about how you feel when you're looking at bright lights, or or when you're in a really busy place. How does that make your eyes feel then? You could cross your eyes by following an object as you bring it towards your nose. How does this make your eyes feel? So these are just some suggestions to get somebody thinking about words you can use to describe how your eyes are feeling. So remember that even if a body sensation is uncomfortable, for example, wet eyes, it can be a really helpful signal, as the sensation of the body part is giving us is important information on what we need to do. So for example, go and get a tissue or check in the mirror to look at your eyes. If you can use a word to describe what the feeling of your eyes feels like, then you can connect this sensation to the action. So remember to think about the 3 steps and linking them together. So step 1, how does your body feel? Step 2, recognize the sensation and what it means. Use one of your describing words. And step 3, take action. So step 3, some practical things to try for sight in your eyes. So it will depend on the individual as to which strategies might be supportive. But the most important thing is to encourage interoception awareness so that you recognize your own body sensations, following and practicing steps 1 and 2. So being mindful of how your eyes can make you feel. And this can be used in conjunction with coping strategies, such as perhaps having tissues nearby and use these if you notice your eyes are watering. Keep a small mirror to hand to look at your eyes if they are watering. Check to see if anything is irritating your eye, or ask someone to help you. If bright lights are uncomfortable for you, you might try wearing sunglasses when you feel overwhelmed by the lights, or using light-sensitive sunglasses. You might try wearing a peaked cap. You might try at home using blinds to cut out some of the sunlight or brightness during the day. Or you might try partially closing the curtains during the brightest part of the day. Try to avoid total darkness, and if someone is very light sensitive, increase the amount of light they can be exposed to gradually. Avoid the busiest times to go shopping if this is possible. Town centres and shopping centres can be really visually stimulating. So perhaps try shopping at quieter times or in smaller shops. Particularly important can be making time to find a quiet, calm space. Think about putting some time aside into a daily routine to do this. This can be a quiet room at home, or perhaps just going for a walk outdoors in the countryside, or sitting in your garden. It might, um, you might use a simple daily routine planner, and there's an example of one in the resources at the end of the webinar. And you might use your routine planner to remember to add a quiet time into your daily routine. If these strategies are difficult, try just closing your eyes for a few minutes, if it's safe to do so. We often have such busy lives, but try to use the strategies from steps 1 and 2 to help you or the person you're supporting to recognize when they may need a change of the environment that they're in and to reduce visual overload. If you're supporting a child at school, try to have a safe, calm, quiet space they can go to if they're feeling overwhelmed by visual stimulation. But the most important thing is to practice recognizing the sensation of how your eyes can make you feel and being able to describe this sensation and act on it. So now we're going to go back to step 1, but this time thinking about your ears and thinking about sounds. So again, it's really important to be aware of where on your body your ears are. And again, body parts such as ears are much easier for people to be able to understand as they are external body parts. So if you're supporting someone and it's appropriate, ask them to show you where on their body their ears are. Can you or the person you're supporting describe sensations around your ears? How can they feel? So again, have your pen and paper ready for this slide. Write down the words that you use to describe how your ears can feel. Again, any word is okay, as it's personal to each individual. So if you're supporting someone and the word that's chosen sounds unusual to you, it's still okay, as long as it's meaningful to the person. So how do your ears feel when you're somewhere noisy? Do they hurt? Could you use this word to describe them? See if you can think of some more words. So again, pause the video, pause the webinar for a few moments and write down how your ears can feel to you. Did you come up with any of these words? My ears can feel focused. My ears can feel sensitive. They can feel too much. Sore, itchy, shut off. My ears can feel full, muffled, or my ears need quiet. And again, the same with the eyes. The word too much can be used here, a describing word for the ears. This describes the feeling many autistic people report when they're experiencing sensory overload. And just to repeat again, too much or similar words or phrases are helpful to include when trying to build the person's ability to regulate sensory needs and maximize sensory comfort independently. So interoception plays a role in helping the person feel or notice the discomfort, and which is then the cue for the person to take action. So again, as with the eyes, it's crucial part of learning to have good interoception awareness to be able to have words that you are comfortable to use that describe how your ears can feel to you. Now, some people again might find it very hard, certainly initially, to think of any words to describe how their ears can feel. So here are some practical things to try to help people think about how their ears might feel. So you might try lightly trace the outside of the ear with your finger. How does that make your ear feel? Listen to white noise for 30 seconds. How does that make your ear feel? Listen to two people talking to you at the same time. How does that make your ears feel? Or you could try listening to loud rock music or soft classical music for 30 seconds. How do these make your ears feel? So remember that even if a body sensation is uncomfortable, so perhaps sore ears, it can be a really helpful signal as the sensation the body part is giving you is important information on what you need to do. So, for example, move away from the sound or turn the sound down if that is possible. So, remember to think about the 3 steps and linking them together. How does your body feel? So, you're thinking about your ears this time. Recognize the sensation and what it means. Use one of your describing words and then take action. Step 3, take action. So once again, in relation to ears and taking action, you might be able to just adjust your environment. So connect the sensation, so it might be that sore ears or your ears are hurting, to the action. So move away from the loud noise. Ask someone to speak in a quieter voice or turn the volume down, whichever is appropriate. So here's a quick example. Noticing that you're becoming overwhelmed in a busy shopping environment and that your ears are sore. Taking action, going into a quiet cafe for a drink. So the steps come with lots of practice, and especially if you're learning to recognize the body signals of the ears and learning how to describe these. So step 3, practical things to try. So again, it will depend on the individual as to which strategies might be supportive. But the most important thing is to encourage interoception awareness so that you recognize your own body signals. So following and practicing steps 1 and 2, so being mindful of how your ears can make you feel and try to let others who are supporting you know how you feel by using the describing words you've learnt. And then this can be used in conjunction with a coping strategy, such as it might be wearing headphones, earphones, or earbuds when you're feeling overwhelmed by sounds. Try not to become over-reliant on headphones, as they can have a negative effect on social interactions. So try to use only for times of sensory overload or for distress caused by sounds. And if you're supporting someone, completing a risk assessment as appropriate if you are supporting them wearing headphones. And there's some further information at the end of the webinar on this. Another strategy might be listen to music or sounds that you find calming. It's really important that the relaxing music is the choice of the individual. What you may think is relaxing may not be for somebody else. There are also many apps to try, such as My Noise, which plays natural calming sounds. Some people find listening to white noise relaxing, or listening to their favourite podcast. Another strategy is avoiding the busiest times to go shopping if this is possible. Town centres and shopping centres can be very noisy, so try shopping at quieter times or in smaller shops. And again, as with the eyes, it can be particularly important to find a quiet, calm space. This could be a quiet room at home or at school or at work, or going for a walk outdoors if this is calming for you. And again, we often have such busy lives, but try to use the strategies from steps 1 and 2 to help you or the person you're supporting to recognize when they may need a change in their environment to reduce the sensory overload that can be caused by too much noise. But again, most importantly, is to practice recognizing the sensation of how your ears can make you feel and being able to describe it and to act on this. So here are just some of the resources you might find useful. Here's a blank chart you can use to describe how your eyes can make you feel. And the same, a chart that you can use to describe how your ears can make you feel. Now, this is just a sample routine planner, which can be adapted or just as a template. And you might try adding in certain times of the day where you want quiet times with less stimulation. And something to consider if you're supporting someone around wearing headphones, and in particular sound cancelling headphones. So some of the risks you might want to pay attention to: crossing the road. We'd always recommend taking the headphones off or away from the ears. Checking that you can hear your mobile phone ringing. It's often worth putting the mobile phone onto vibrate mode if this helps. Check that you can still hear if a family member or support staff call your name. And check if you can hear your doorbell or somebody knocking at your door. And very importantly, check that you can hear your smoke alarm. So we hope that you have found this Interoception and Sights and Sounds webinar useful. And you may also like to search for other webinars in this series on YouTube. There is Interoception Awareness and Anxiety, Interoception Awareness Eating and Drinking, Interoception Awareness Temperature and Pain, and Interoception Awareness and Toileting. Thank you very much for listening.